Hi, Martin Taylor here again. In the last video in this series on detecting land clearing in Australia, we looked at an introduction to Google Earth Engine, just how to load up Landsat satellite images and how to interpret it. We're going to go a little bit more into that, but in this particular video we're going to look at how to use that time slider to find change. So you're looking at two pictures, finding out how can we detect change. We'll load a second layer so that we can swap between those layers to look for change. So let's go to the Google Earth Engine where we left off, and as you'll remember, we loaded an image from Landsat. It's not very high resolution, so it's hard to see, but we can see some of the things that are going on. They make sense, particularly when we compare them with the underlying high-resolution satellite image. So let's fix this in time, because this is from January this year. So let's just label it up here, January 2017. So that's one image. We've got January 2017. How can we compare that with previous times? Okay, well, let's add the same layer, Landsat 8, 32 day reflectance composite. So we'll just load the same layer, but we're going to select, using the time slider, a different time. So we've got two images, one on top of the other, for different times. So let's pick a time. Let's go back a fair way. I'm going to go back to 2015, more than a year ago. But one thing we're going to have to learn is, because of cloud, we're going to have to pick a time when there's less cloud around so we can actually see what's going on. And if we go to October, November, of course the thing about Australia, and particularly the tropics and subtropics, is we have a wet season. And so during the summer, there's always going to be a lot of cloud around. So if we're going to find scenes that have less cloud, we're going to have to look in the dry season, which of course in Australia is the winter. In northern Australia is the winter. So we'll go back, step back. We're going to go to August or September 2015, because that's definitely the dry season, and we can see there's no cloud in this image. But we do have to change the bands that we're looking at so that we get a better image, enhanced image, as we did before. And let's change this to August 2015. Okay, save that. And so here we see it. Here we see the August 2015 images. Now I want to point out a couple of things to you. As before we saw, this is all forest. The bright green tends to be areas where there's active vegetation growing, so usually that's going to be grass or crops. Right, I want to point two little areas out to you. One's down here. Now let's go back to the high resolution satellite image. See this little patch of forest here, over here, and then next to Springfield, of course, we've got all this forest here. So concentrate when you're looking on those two areas. Let's look at August 2015, and of course those are showing up as forest. Okay, there's that little patch of forest there, forest, forest. So what happens by January 2017? Well, let's look at those two areas again, and let's flick off the image. What you can see by January this year, something's happened down here, because here's forest over here, and that hasn't changed very much. Let's just turn that on and off. So having a look down here, concentrate down here, see that? So this forest over here has stayed, but something's happened to that forest there. It's not very distinct though, is it? It's not like a really bright, dramatic change. Then let's have a look over here. And what we see happening in January 2017 is, oh my gosh, that has all been cleared, hasn't it? Over here. And so another thing we notice is, oh, there's a little patch down here that's been cleared too. See how that has changed dramatically to those sort of white, brown, purplish colours that indicate land clearing. Right? Oh, and look, this patch of forest up here has also gone. Let's turn that on. So here's January, here's August 2015, and here's January 2017. Okay, so immediately we've detected some land clearing. And we can see, if we go back to the high-resolution satellite, that the high-resolution satellite is somewhere between those two dates, isn't it? Because it's showing this is cleared, whereas in the August 2015, that was all forest. But it's not showing this is cleared over here. But in the January 2017 image, that is showing as cleared. And it's also showing over here in this little patch of forest that something happened to it, but we're not exactly sure what. So that patch of forest was there in August 2017, but if you have a look now, something's happened to it. Well, it turns out there's two types of clearing. There's just the flat-out bulldozing to bare ground that happens when you just clear all the trees. So when you're clearing for an urban development, that's what they tend to do. They'll just bulldoze everything, they'll make piles, and then they'll come in with a big wood chipper and chip all those piles up. And what they have is bare ground. And so the bare ground is what you're seeing here. But over here, what's happened is what's called so-called thinning. So that's when they cut most of the trees down, but they still leave a few trees behind. So it confuses, you're not exactly seeing completely bare ground. You're just seeing a much less dense forest over here. So those are two different types of clearing that you can pick up. And you can do that just by loading two satellite images and looking at one versus the other.